Good hello. Now, this lady aged 20 asked me about her marriage lines. Now, she said on her left hand she has a very strange formation of a marriage line, and on her right hand she has a forked marriage line. So, in this video, I'm going to get to the bottom of what this means. Now, I find it very interesting because the left hand shows us what's internal. It shows us how we feel and think about our marriage, our insecurities, and the level of emotional requirement and effect that this has on us. Now, on the right hand, the relationship is showing to impact us more practically, environmentally, physically, monetarily. Now, timing the relationships on the palms is quite simply by looking at the heart line, in between the heart line and underneath the Mercury finger, and looking at these horizontal lines and where it lies in between this space. The further up the palm, the later on in life. So we're looking at this relationship line here, and this occurs around about the age of 30, and this one probably around about the age of 45. Now, a fork in a marriage line is a symbol of separation. You can have a look at my examples of marriage lines in palmistry video for a bit more information. Now, curiously, obviously, this person being 20 years old, they are not anywhere near 45. So why are we seeing a forked marriage line? Well, this isn't quite a fork yet. It's sort of hinting at trying to be one. It's not a fully formed fork here. There's a bit of a sort of an overlap and a reconnection. It's not really sure what it's going to be just yet. And so what this really is showing us is the potential for a future relationship and how this might turn out. Now, the length and the strength of the marriage line shows the potential for marriage itself. These are not necessarily two marriages. That's not how it works. They are just called marriage lines. These should really be called relationship lines. And so you would think that a marriage line as strong and long as this, or as weak and short, I should say, doesn't really bode well for a marriage, or at least a strong, happy, long-lasting marriage. However, if you look very closely, there is a very faint doubling of vertical lines that rise from this union. And interestingly, there's something of a line that kind of looks to reinforce or strengthen or some way sort of feed this relationship. Now, this is a really interesting point because the formation of this marriage line is sort of the roots of this stem from this island on the heart line, and you can see it again here, which kind of develop into what looks like the possibility for what is otherwise known as a children line. So we have two of these develop from this union here, which is rooted in the potential for guilty love affair, love intrigue. And I say that because on the right hand here we have a very strong island directly underneath the Mercury mount, and so all the signs here kind of point to this. As well as that, the left hand shows us the thoughts and feelings. Now, an island in a marriage line, it's not fully formed because these thoughts and feelings have yet to fully manifest. An island in a marriage line shows the potential, again, for a guilty love intrigue. Again, we can see two rising lines from this potential love affair. So to get a clearer idea as to who this person is, we need to look at the overall hand shape and the lines as well in the hands, and kind of conclude from these signs comprised together holistically. So what we see is a very long, slender palm and short fingers. They're not completely short, but in comparison to the palm, they certainly are. And what this really means is we have a very sensitive individual. Notice how the upper portion of the palm is wider than the base, and this really shows us someone who has a greater capacity for feeling. And so the heart line as well, notice the depth of it, how low down on the palm it is, the curvature, the arc of it rising up in between Jupiter and Saturn. So we really have someone here who has a strong desire, a need to love and be loved. in all respects as well. They probably have a very sort of complicated need for love. It's physical, it's emotional, it's intelligent. The conic and rounded, certainly conic Jupiter finger. The nature of the fingers here shows a person who needs to sort of think and feel in the moment. This is a feeler, a very strong, emotionally motivated and governed individual. But here is where the real evidence is. Again, the left hand shows us what's internal. Now, what's internal for this person emotionally in terms of where they feel in their relationship. If you notice this left hand here, now it's not as clear, but follow the marriage line. Now, again, this is not fully formed because we're actually looking into the future for this person. This is a relationship that they are not yet in. And so the future is a continuous set of ever-changing circumstances due to our ever-changing circumstances in the present. So this has not happened yet. It's not set in stone and it's not a guarantee. But notice here the potential for this guilty love intrigue, and it's not fully formed. As I say, it's not joined up, it's not clear, it's not obvious, but notice the marriage line, and that was a terrible example. Notice the marriage line and what it's pointing towards. Points towards the sun line, and at the base of the sun line, just here, you've got a little sort of window, a box of protection here, protecting this person's happiness that becomes, the path of which becomes sort of derailed. Because as a result of this potential guilty love affair, there looks to be some protection around this person's happiness and how it affects their potential for prosperity and peace and happiness and money, success in life as well. There is something of a little bit of a blip as well, potential defamation. As well as that, there is something of, a cross here on the Apollo mountain. Again, this is a potentially poor decision around procuring someone's sort of future and peace and happiness. And actually, it's a poor decision. It's poor judgment made out of a need to be happy, but actually ends up stifling a person's happiness. But again, looking closely, there is something of a square forming out of all of this. So this is not set in stone. And for this person, it looks as though there are outside forces sort of ready and at play to protect this person. The other thing I notice about this person's hand is the distance between the head and the lifeline. There's a gap here, and this is known as the mark of the tiger. This person is fiercely independent, but there's also a sense of impatience here as well, and she probably gives herself without thinking, emotionally as well as perhaps physically. So I would advise this person not to impulsively, as knowing this is known as the mark of the tiger in Tibetan palmistry. As tiger people so often are impulsive, I would advise not to rush headlong into relationships and to guard yourself from your own impulse decisions and desires in the moment. We have needs, and we may feel that we need to satiate those urges and needs and desires in the moment, but the ramifications, the long-term consequences can sometimes potentially damage the road ahead. But I can say again, this person has outside forces at work and sort of ready to support, and perhaps these outside forces are actually their own actions. So let me know what your thoughts are on this video, and thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and also, by the way, I do have another video out there on examples on the marriage line, so please do check that out, and I'll see you on the next one.